3 months ago, I made a decision that doctors call extreme, sleep experts label counterintuitive, and my wife thought I was absolutely nuts. I stopped sleeping with a pillow, and my back and neck pain vanished the very first night. But I am not telling you to stop sleeping with a pillow, because hidden in this seemingly random experiment is a principle so powerful it will completely transform how you approach everything, from business to relationship to fitness. This isn't about pillows. It's about one thing standing between you and breakthrough results that nobody talks about. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. So recently, I made what some might consider a radical change to my sleep routine, and that is that I completely ditched my pillow. After decades of using pillows just like anyone else, I switched to sleeping without one. Now, I can already hear you thinking, that sounds uncomfortable, or why would anybody want to do that? And those are completely fair questions. But what's fascinating isn't just what I did, but why it worked, and more importantly, the profound lesson behind it that applies to virtually everything we try to improve in our lives. Before I dive in, I want to clarify something important. This video isn't actually about telling you to throw away your pillow. In fact, it's not medical or sleep advice at all. It's about a much deeper principle that this experience illustrates perfectly. A principle that, once you understand it, will transform how you approach everything in your life. So I'll break this down step by step. First, I have to explain the pillow thing. Then I'm going to tell you how you can use this lesson in any area of your life. Think about this. Where do you spend the most time in the same position each day? It's in your bed, right? While you're sleeping. You spend roughly a third of your life asleep, and during that time, your body is in the same position for hours. When you stay in one position for an extended period, especially over years and decades, your body gradually adapts to that position. Your fascia, your muscles, even your skeletal alignment shift to accommodate what becomes your normal posture. This is why people develop postural issues like hunched backs or forward necks or rounded shoulders. They aren't natural positions. They're adaptations to unnatural habits that become comfortable because you're familiar with them. Now, here's where pillows come in. When you prop your head up on a pillow night after night after night, you're forcing your neck into an unnatural position for 6 to 8 hours straight. It's the same position as you would get from looking down at your smartphone all day, which most people do anyway. This prevents proper extension of your cervical spine, which trains your body to maintain that misalignment even when you're awake. So you add that sleeping position to using your smartphone much of the day, like most of us do, and your neck is in that forward position 90% of the time. Sleeping without a pillow, when done properly, allows your spine to rest in its natural alignment and give you the cervical extension you need. But, and this is crucial, it typically means you need to sleep on your back, which most people find uncomfortable. And that discomfort brings us to the first important insight. Why do we find back sleeping without a pillow so uncomfortable? Why do we find back sleeping uncomfortable at all? This is where it really gets interesting. Your subconscious mind has one primary objective that overrides almost everything else, and that is to keep you alive. It's designed for immediate survival, not long-term optimization. Think about your preferred sleeping position. Do you curl up on your side in the fetal position? Or do you sleep on your stomach? What do these positions have in common? They are protective postures, and they shield your vital organs. These positions protect you from predators or enemies that might attack while you're vulnerable and unconscious. This programming runs so deep that even though most of us sleep in perfectly safe environments where no predators will attack us, our brains still prefer the protective sleeping positions. Your subconscious prioritizes immediate survival over long-term spinal health, for example. Sleeping on your side is a terrible posture as it distributes weight unevenly across your spine, but it feels good. It feels comfortable. It feels safe. So it's easier to fall asleep in that position. It's the same reason you're drawn to checking notifications instead of doing deep work, or why you crave sugar and fast food instead of nutritious meals. It's even why you procrastinate on long term projects and do busy work instead. Your brain is hardwired to choose immediate gratification over long term reward because, from a historical perspective, surviving today has always been more urgent than optimizing for next year. So, how do you overcome this? Well, you have to consciously override the initial discomfort and recognize it as an outdated survival mechanism. You need to repeatedly signal to your brain that the new, healthier behavior is safe until it eventually becomes comfortable. This applies to sleeping without a pillow, but it also applies to building any healthy habit that initially feels uncomfortable or unnatural. But here's where I want to introduce a twist, a lesson that might surprise you after everything I've just explained. The lesson is that even if you know you should sleep on your back without a pillow to properly align your cervical spine, that's probably not what you should actually do right now. Wait, what? Let me explain. Unless you've already mastered the basic foundations of good sleep hygiene, going to bed at a consistent time, sleeping in a dark room, turning off electronic devices before bed, not eating within 3 hours of sleeping, not drinking alcohol, and aligning your schedule with natural sunlight patterns, trying to change your sleeping position is probably putting the cart before the horse. If you're already struggling with sleep quality, attempting to sleep in an unfamiliar position without a pillow might actually make things worse, not better. And this brings me to the profound principle I promised at the beginning of this video, which is you must master the basics before pursuing advanced life hacks. Everyone is constantly looking for the secret hack or the shortcut or that one weird trick that will transform your results. And those specialized techniques do exist and they do work. But, and this is really important, they only become relevant and effective after you've consistently mastered the fundamentals. It's like trying to learn an advanced guitar solo when you haven't even learned how to play the basic chords, or trying some wild marketing strategy when you don't even have a product yet. The basics are not sexy or exciting, but they account for 80 to 90% of your results in virtually any domain. Only after you've mastered the basics should you pursue those final percentage points of optimization. Let's make this really concrete with some examples beyond sleep. In fitness, people will look for specialized training protocols or supplements while they neglect consistent workouts, proper form, adequate protein intake, and sufficient recovery. If you mastered those basics first, you will get 90% of the possible results and be ahead of everybody else. The specialized techniques only matter for the final 10 to 20%. The basics always come before the advanced stuff. In relationships, people search for communication hacks or techniques while they forget the basic foundations like spending quality time together or basic respect, listening actively, and showing appreciation. Master these first. In productivity, maybe you've downloaded the latest apps and systems while you neglect the complete beginner fundamentals, like getting adequate sleep or keeping your workload manageable, making your priorities clear, or eliminating distractions. The pattern is universal. And here's what's fascinating. Once you do master the basics in any domain, those secret techniques will find you naturally. Ideas will just come to you in the shower, or you become part of a community and this specialized knowledge is shared. Now it makes perfect sense in that context. Or you develop the foundation experientially to recognize what valuable advanced techniques are when you encounter them. These specialized insights are what I call ungoogleable, which means they're not really available to beginners because the beginners don't have the proper context. They're meaningless or even harmful. They're passed on through experience and mentorship and community. This principle offers another advantage, which is simplification. When you focus on mastering the basics, your path becomes clearer and more actionable. Nobody thinks it's exciting to eat right and walk every day, but it's easy and it's basic. It's straightforward to track and measure. Once those basics become habits, which is your new normal, your conscious mind, which can only focus on about 5 to 9 things at once, has the bandwidth to try more complex or nuanced things. This is how true mastery develops, not by constantly chasing novelty, but by patiently building a solid foundation and gradually adding complexity when it's appropriate. Think of it like building a house. First, you need a solid foundation before adding the walls next, and then the walls must be sturdy before you add the roof, and only after the structure is complete do you worry about interior design and decorative elements. To continue with that metaphor, most people skip the building part altogether and go straight to decorating the inside. But there's no inside to decorate yet. Your dream home doesn't look like your dream home when it's just a frame on a slab. The building part is boring and unsexy, which is exactly why everyone skips it. When you skip ahead in this process and focus on advanced techniques before you've mastered the basics, you create something unstable that eventually collapses when pressure is applied. Think of the house. So, while my personal journey with ditching my pillow might seem like an interesting hack, the real value comes from understanding the broader principle it illustrates. Stop looking for secrets and shortcuts. Start mastering the basics. And then the secrets will find you when you're ready for them. This approach requires patience and humility, qualities that not a lot of people have in our instant gratification culture. But the results speak for themselves. Consistent mastery of fundamentals always outperforms the erratic pursuit of hacks and shortcuts. Now, if you want a legitimate hack to create or destroy a habit overnight, check out this video where I explain how habits really work and how you can use it to your advantage. It's the closest thing you'll get to a shortcut that's legitimate. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What areas are you working on where you might need to refocus on the basics? Or where have you seen mastery of fundamentals lead to discovering the secret hack naturally? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this perspective valuable, please hit like and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the surface to explore the principles that drive real transformation. Until next time, focus on mastering what you already know you should be doing, and the secrets will find you when you're ready.